This week on Dine Drink CLE, the podcast.
They have really turned the whole concept of a steakhouse upside down. When I think of steakhouses, I think of old, boring, staid, dark, clubby places. This is anything but. It is so whimsical, so impish. It's a lot of fun. There's, it's a prefix menu. So you have a placemat, and you can basically mix and match.
And they're taking ice creams, very unique ice creams, because that's what Mason's is known for, and pairing them with Great Lakes Brewing Company's different beers.
It's beer and ice cream. Can't say I haven't done that at home, eaten a drumstick and drank a Miller Lite after, but this is a little more fancy version of it.
You can go up to a winery. I think there's 28 that are going to be there. You can go up. You can try something sweeter. You can try something drier, something red, something white. You just need to tell the person behind the table what you want.
I'm Josh Duke.
And I'm Alex Darus.
And you're either watching or listening to Dine Drink CLE, the podcast, where each and every week we are joined by cleveland.com's best and brightest food experts, insiders, and influencers talking all things food and drink here in the Northeast Ohio area. Alex, what are we talking about today?
Lots to talk about today. A new steakhouse is opening in Tremont, and Marc Bona got the first look at that. The Vintage Ohio Wine Festival is coming up, and we also have some fun summer treats from Great Lakes Brewing Company. So lots to discuss.
Very excited. Well, first we got Marc here to talk about this steak house coming to Tremont. So welcome, Marc. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you definitely know what you're in for when the name of the place is just steak.
Yeah,
it's just one
exactly.
word. So for those who remember Parallax, longtime restaurant from Zach Brule in Cleveland's Tremont neighborhood over on West 11th Street, really cool space, sleek Asian fusion with these vases filled with golf balls because Zach is a golf nut. He closed it not about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I want to say. And I've been waiting to see what concept would go in. And Hangry Brands, I know, Alex, you've written about them and I've written about them. Hangry Brands has gone in with steak. Now, this is a local company, a burgeoning restaurant group that owns Lionheart Coffee, Geraci's Slice Shop, the Yard on 3rd in Willoughby, a lot of different places, all fun. They have really turned the whole concept of a steakhouse upside down. When I think of steakhouses, I think of old, boring, staid, dark, clubby places. This is anything but. It is so whimsical, so impish. It's a lot of fun. There's, it's a prefix menu. So you have a placemat, and you can basically mix and match. You choose a side, the steak you want, and one of 5 different sauces. I mean, cognac peppercorn just sounds incredible. Full bar, of course. They have a fun dessert. It's a sundae in a Ferris wheel. So I think they have the ice cream in each of the little carts that go around, things like that. They even have a kids menu. So this is something I think for everyone. A lot of selfie stations, very light, really just a cool space. What says it all on the placemat is not your parents' steakhouse. And that's exactly what this is.
Yeah. And I think, too, just kind of, I wanted to ask, because Tito Francona is a part owner in this. Is there any Guardians kind of representation, or is it more sleek? What is kind of the vibe inside?
No, you're right. Terry Francona is one. Thanks for reminding me on that, Alex. Terry Francona, the former Guardians manager, is one of the investors with Hangry Brands in at least, I know he invested in Geraci's Slice Shop downtown, and he's also invested in steak. They actually have a plastic helmet that you could get at the ballpark. You would get nachos in. Well, at steak, you're actually going to be served loaded fries, and you can keep the helmet.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that does sound really, really fun.
Well, and I know they're going to have some drinks. Jason, who owns Hangry Brands, was saying some of the drinks will be in some different cool vessels.
Disco ball. There's actually, I don't know how much it costs, but it's a disco ball, serves 4 people. So you can imagine it's kind of sort of the size of, I'd say it's larger than a softball and smaller than a volleyball. It's a good size. Get the straws out, go to town.
He had something, I forget. I think I saw it. It's in like a glass milk carton. And it's supposed to be like kind of a boozy chocolate milk play on that, like cocktail. So I think they're going to have some fun drinks as much as the food, like you said, that Ferris wheel Sunday sounds like it's made for Josh to post on Instagram.
Very much so. And on that note, I was just going to ask you, it sounds like it's going to be a very trendy, Instagrammable place. It looked like it from the photos too. Very, very cool aesthetic, like you were talking about. When you're looking at the menu and you're hearing about these crazy items that they're going to be having, what do you think is going to be like the trendy thing that people go to take a photo of and share on social? Like what?
Yeah, do you think it's the food, the actual layout, or are there any Instagrammable parts of the restaurant in particular? What do you think people
and any particular menu item you think is going to be like the thing?
That's a good question about the menu, and I'm really not sure. You have to be in the mood for steak. They actually have a 32-ounce tomahawk called the Wahoo Cut, so that's a little homage to Tito Francona. There's a ton of neon lights and neon lit signs throughout the space. I think that just lends itself to Instagrammable moments. But there are two places in particular that I think are really cool. There is, over the bar, there is the head of it's fake, it's not real, the head of a cow, and it's got a lit halo around it. Get it? Holy cow. All right. So I thought that's kind of cute. But the thing that I loved, I don't know why, I just think this was the coolest thing ever. The door handles, you're going to have people stop and take pictures outside this place because the door handle is a couple of cleavers.
I love it.
And it is so good. It reminds me of, if you've been to Brew Nuts. They have a rolling pin, I want to say, as the door handle. We could do a whole story just on door handles of restaurants and bars.
I've been thinking about doing bathrooms too. No, seriously.
Really.
That's another topic. But another thing I think that I really liked and what I got really excited for the opening of Steak is the big mural on the outside. It's a huge steak. It says like "True love is rare." I think I was like, that is like, I would get that tattooed on me.
I saw conflicting opinions about that. I don't know if like people had strong opinions about the building or something prior to that, but I saw some like comments that were not the biggest fan of the mural. But I saw some that were extremely excited about it too.
I like it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's pretty cool to me. I know if I saw that walking by, I'd be like, yeah, let me check that out. And then I get in and I'll be like, oh, it's a steakhouse. So let me see what it's giving. Is it too fancy? What's this? There's a baseball helmet with loaded fries in it. Well, let me go ahead and just have a good time because it doesn't seem like it's a uppity kind of place.
Well, yeah, and what is kind of like the price point, or I guess in general, what do you think like that Steak is hoping to bring? Because obviously there are a few steakhouses downtown and stuff. What is kind of the goal, like the niche that Steak is hoping to fill? Is it with price or what?
I think it's a couple of things. I think the price is pretty much average for a good fine dining type of restaurant, but I think they're really breaking the mold of, as I said at the beginning of this segment, maybe I'm wrong, but I think when I hear steakhouse, I think kind of boring and steak. That this is geared for all ages audience. I love the fact, I don't know why I'm saying this, I don't have kids, but I like the fact that they have a mini-me menu. So they're catering for families to a degree, but I really think you're going to see a lot of 20-somethings and 30-somethings in there. It's just, the vibe is very energetic. I can't wait to see what the energy is like when we're there. And also the neighborhood needs this.
Totally.
I absolutely think any neighborhood that should have diversity in every way across the board. And part of that is the type of culinary options that you have.
Yeah, and Tremont doesn't, I guess, really have like a traditional steakhouse like that at all.
No, they lost Fahrenheit to downtown, and even though in miles that's only probably maybe 2, it's kind of devoid of that. There are other places there and they're very good, but the more different types of places you can have, to me, the better.
Totally. Yeah. No, I was sitting at Southside, and which is right across from Steak, and I was like, oh, that'll be nice when that opens and I can go over and have a drink like when I was eating, or vice versa, you know. That's what Tremont, it's like you said, it's a couple miles, but it's walkable. Everyone's walking there. Parking there sucks. Like, it's just like
yeah, Tremont has to be one of the best, I guess, foodie destinations in the greater Cleveland area, I think.
Yeah. Tremont, Ohio City, that little like
top 4
5-mile radius or whatever. There's so much to eat.
Yeah, it's a great location for this kind of concept, I think.
Yeah. No, we'll have to go in and get a few of the fancy cocktails and Ferris wheel and make a reel for the Dine Drink CLE Instagram. Yes.
And maybe our editor will expense the 32-ounce tomahawk cuts. So
it's for research. He's rolling his eyes off screen, so we'll see how that goes. And now we're joined by Paris Wolfe, who's going to talk a little bit about the Vintage Ohio 2-day festival coming up. So hi, Paris.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Josh.
Welcome.
So 29th annual Vintage Ohio. What's going on?
Well, this year they have done two things. One of them is they have separated out the VIP top wines into a separate area, a separate ticket, so people can get the gold medal and the award-winning wines that are in short supply. And they've also launched a cider tasting tent. They have 4 cider makers in the tent. And they're going to be pouring about 6 ciders each, hard ciders.
Where's the festival at?
Oh,
No, you're good.
it's at the Lake County Farm Parks Metro Parks Farm Park.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, and it's a ticketed event.
Ticketed event, $45 at the door for regular entry, $75 for VIP. Oh no, they're not selling VIP tickets at the door.
Okay, so pre-sale. And I feel
Pre-sale
like
only.
it's kind of interesting whenever we talk about like Ohio wine or even just like in conversations, people think of it as a certain thing. Like I think a lot of people kind of think it's like all sweet offerings. Like what do you kind of think
It's
that
not.
this
People think that because that is a lot of what is made, but there's a lot of dry white and reds. One of the things that we're seeing is as it warms up, they can ripen the red grapes a little longer and make some drier wines, a little higher alcohol, a little drier reds. It's happened probably since 2016, if
guess
I'm
that's
right.
one good thing about climate.
That is one good thing.
Probably shouldn't say
As
that.
long as we don't get a lot of rain, it's a good thing. If you get a lot of rain, then it causes more problems in the vineyard.
Yeah, and it feels like this festival has been kind of aiming to show people the diversity within Ohio.
Trying to showcase
wine.
the various wines that are available, give people a chance to find what they like. You can go up to a winery. I think there's 28 that are going to be there. You can go up. You can try something sweeter. You can try something drier, something red, something white. You just need to tell the person behind the table what your preferences are.
Yeah. And on the note of diversity, you said that they are including ciders this year. So I wonder, like, why just now?
Because ciders are just starting to get hot in Ohio. We're a little bit behind some other places, West Coast. They've been a lot hotter.
So weird.
It is, yeah. But
'Cause
Ohio's starting
Ohio
to pick up on it.
apples.
I know, and we're a cider country, but hard cider is just starting to really catch on. It's different what they're going to be serving than some of the poppy ciders that you find, hard ciders that you find at retail. Some of them are made in a traditional wine style.
That's exactly what I was just
So they're
kind of going to
different.
ask. Cider, is it do you know, like, is the process closer to beer making or wine making?
Winemaking.
So that's kind of why they're lumping it together. Yes.
At least for the cider makers that are going to be at Vintage Ohio. It's more of a winemaking.
Yeah, I
than
mean,
a
I've
beer
even
making.
seen like some of the nice hard ciders in bottles. Like you can only buy it in
You
a
can buy it
bottle.
at $7.50
Yeah.
or some, yeah.
What do you think about hard ciders as opposed to wine?
I like it. I have a friend who she does not drink beer at all, and she is always drinking ciders, and it is like cool, especially the ones like she'll try out. It's like, oh, you didn't know a cider could taste like that. Like it's not just sweetened apple
Yes,
juice.
Yeah.
it is not just sweet, and that's one of the points they want to make.
Or
at
even
the
just
festival.
apple. Like, yes, it's apple, but sometimes it can have other
They add
flavors.
blueberry,
It's like it doesn't even
honey.
taste like an apple.
So it's
Yeah.
got a variety of fruit. And the ciders that are going to be at Vintage Ohio, it's not artificial flavoring. It's real blueberry juice,
That's
real
good.
blood orange puree.
I ought to give those more of a try because I'm not the biggest beer fan, as you guys know, and I feel like that could be a good sort of little alternative. It sounds a little healthier too than
Well,
most
and
beer.
it's only
Kind of.
six,
More sugar.
6
Oh,
to
no?
9.
Okay, maybe
all,
not.
all alcohol needs
Depends.
sugar. That's right.
Yeah, it
Basic
depends on how
science.
much- But the percentage of alcohol is a little lower than if you're drinking. Well, it can be a lot lower than if you're drinking wine. It can
Well,
be
wine,
6%, whereas wine is usually more than 10.
And as far as like the wine offerings, is it kind of, I know we said like sweet and dry, but red, white, rosé, like people,
You're gonna find all of it.
all of it.
All of it.
Do they make sparkling wine?
Yes.
Yes. I guess, I don't know if that's
they
like,
do. Some of them do. I can't say who's going to have it that's going to be there because they don't bring their entire lines, and some people have 14 wines
Yeah.
that they make, and they might only be bringing 4 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some sparkling wines that's really picking up out in the Grand River Valley.
Yeah.
Mm.
And why do you think maybe the people who might not know about this but be interested in drinking wine should go check it out, see what it's about? Have you been
They
before?
really need to see what the Grand River Valley is like.
Yeah.
What the wines are like. They really need to keep an open mind and find out that there's some really great local stuff going on. I mean, everybody's been hot about the local food movement for a long time.
Mhm.
We should be hot about the local beverage movement as well.
Yeah. And I think especially like, I don't know, Mark always talks about craft beer, and I think people do get that, but like you and I have explored a lot of even the spirits, and it's like,
Right.
yeah, support local with that too.
Right.
Don't
Support
just order
local.
your regular Jack and Coke or Tito's
Yeah.
soda every time. There's different things.
Are there any local wine vendors that are going to be there that kind of stand out to you as something that you're excited about trying? Or
It's hard to narrow it down because
Okay.
there's so many that do a good job.
Mhm.
Like, I'm a big fan of M. Sellers. I like I'm trying to think of who else. There's a lot. And there's some from around the state, not just Grand River Valley.
Mhm.
There are a number from around the state that are unfamiliar to me
Hmm.
that I'm interested in learning more about and seeing what they're doing in their region
Yeah. Have you been to this event before?
many times.
Yeah. So
Many
you would
times.
recommend it?
Absolutely. It's a good time. I've actually worked the event
Okay.
a couple of times, volunteered. My son is a winemaker at Ferrante Winery, and I hear a lot of what's going on in the vineyard and in the cellar from him. I've seen both sides of the table, and it's a lot of fun on both sides.
And now we got Pete Chakerian here to talk about some Great Lakes Brewing Company summer fun flavors. Welcome, Pete.
Thank you, friends.
Yeah, so a lot going on at Great Lakes Brewing Company. I guess first, you recently wrote a column about the Rocket Pop Hard Seltzer. So what's that all about?
So that's fun. If you've been following the classic CLE Eats and Drinks column
Mm-hmm.
on cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, you'll note that I'm picking out things that people can go out and enjoy that are sort of quintessential Cleveland food and drink items that they can enjoy, and hopefully for, the future can continue to enjoy. It's not just something that's thought of, in the past tense, like the Silver Grill or Higbee's, that kind of thing. So occasionally I'll pick up something that's brand new that feels like it's going to be a long-term classic. And so Great Lakes Brewing Company has got this Rocket Pop Hard Seltzer. Now, they've moved into hard seltzer just in the last couple of years. A lot of breweries are moving towards what are called malternatives, with air quotes.
Mhm.
And malternatives are
Malternatives.
malt alternatives.
I've never
obviously.
heard that one yet.
No, it's clever, right? Because beer consumption and sales have been on the decline for the last several years. And so you got to diversify your portfolio. Not everybody wants, a super hoppy double IPA, that they can't see through. So got to diversify. And Great Lakes has done so.
Is that because
really
it's made
well.
with malt liquor?
Malt is used in the brewing process.
No, I know. I mean like a White Claw and stuff. Isn't that like malt derived alcohol?
It is.
Yeah. Is that why they call it malternative?
Correct.
Oh.
Exactly.
I'm just sorry. I'm having a lesson here.
We're good.
So in any event, they've had a couple of different varieties that I think turned out really well. But the Rocket Pop that they introduced in the summer earlier was just something completely unique. It takes the flavors that you would get out of a bomb pop that you remember from the ice cream truck when you're growing up, or at least I do. And so you have your cherry and your, lemon and blue raspberry. Those flavors are all kind of combined into one sort of delicious beverage. And the great thing is it's not super sweet. Like, you get that fruity juiciness out of it, but it doesn't taste cloyingly sweet. And it also doesn't taste like Glade smells, which is my chief complaint with White Claw. So I was super excited about it, wrote a little column about it, and I hope it becomes a summer staple. So if you haven't had it, it comes in 6-packs. It's really, really good and quite refreshing.
Well, and it feels like classic because it's nostalgic. Like
Yeah.
Throwback. Great Lakes Brewery is very nostalgic for multiple reasons. Just being a pioneer in the craft beer community in Northeast Ohio. So I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah, but when I think about a Rocket Pop, I'm thinking about the gradient colors and how you kind of have a experience of like getting that flavor profile in tiers. You know what I'm saying?
So
to
you want
mix
that
those,
in
Yes, it would
That's
be. Wait,
a
wait,
feat
hold
of
on, hold on, hold on.
engineering.
Let me cook because, or brew or whatever you would call it.
Oh God.
Because you can, as a cocktail engineer or whatever you would call it, people gradient their drinks all the time. You know,
Yes,
so
but
wouldn't it
not
be
out of a
nice?
can.
I know, but like, wouldn't it be like nice if there was a way where you go to the Great Lakes Brewing Company, brewery, and you get them to make it for you in a gradient.
It's funny you should
Yeah.
You're
mention
like
that.
a child who needs like the
Yes.
drink to have like lights and.
I am very visual. Yes.
Got it.
It
Got
really
it.
is funny you should mention that, though. They do have a recipe on the website that incorporates Rocket Pop into what looks like a layered cocktail.
Well, boom.
So there you are.
Yes.
Bob's your uncle, as they say.
All
Yes.
right, Josh is right. Whatever. But no, it sounds really cool. And like, I don't know. I feel like the hard seltzer boom, like we all kind of saw that happening, and a lot of the brands and stuff were making a lot of similar flavors. Like I feel like every hard seltzer brand has like a citrus of some sort, or
Yeah.
and it's kind of cool to see Great Lakes expanding that and kind of going a little bit different with it.
Yeah. Okay. But going back into how it tastes.
Oh my god.
how does that? Because how does that flavor profile come together in one thing that you get all at once, as opposed to a popsicle version that?
It's
know.
just
You
it's
lick
just
the whole
really
thing.
Well, I
fresh.
don't ever do that. Maybe I'm weird, but I kind of go top to bottom. I don't know.
Like you've not had all the flavors at once?
I like to bite my popsicles down, but hey, I don't know. I'm weird. Go
I have
ahead.
sensitive
Sorry
teeth.
for the interruption.
No, I was just gonna say. I think it all comes together very much like a mixed berry that has some citrus undertones to it. So
Okay.
it's really good.
But it's still identifiable.
It's very identifiable.
Cool.
Like when you're drinking it, it definitely reminds you of having a Rocket Pop.
Yeah.
So, and it would make a good float too. I know some people like to do those kinds of things. Maybe if you found some vanilla ice cream or a kind of sorbet that you like, you could
Just
float.
pour it over a Rocket Pop.
Or you
Mhm.
could just throw a Rocket
Mm.
Pop right in your
Mhm.
glass.
And kind of, okay, so going with the ice
It's like
cream.
adjacent, right?
Yes. So Mason's, Creamery, and Great Lakes Brewery are collabing for an ice cream and beer pairing. What can you tell us about that?
So, Jesse Mason, the co-owner of Mason's Creamery, and Mike Williams, who is a Cicerone at Great Lakes Brewing Company, are coming together to do a pairing event. And they're taking ice creams, very unique ice creams, because that's what Mason's is known for, and pairing them with Great Lakes Brewing Company's different beers and I think seltzers too, if I was looking at the list correctly. But no, actually, it's just beer that they're pairing. So, but it's that unique sort of flavor profile. You wouldn't think that ice cream and beer would necessarily go together, but these two have definitely figured that out. Mike, of course, is really a key driver in the Hop College initiative that they have at Great Lakes Brewing Company, and was key in creating the tour guide program over at Great Lakes Brewing Company several years ago to sort of take people on the brewery tour. So they will both have a lot of interesting things to say. And I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, no, it does sound like a little unconventional, but like you just got to eat a light meal before, because ice
Okay.
cream and beer, you're going to be bloated.
But is it unconventional though? Are we gonna pretend that root beer floats aren't a thing and haven't
Yeah,
been a
but beer,
thing?
the root beer and beer are
I-
not the same.
But you can't make a beer that tastes like root beer that you then put ice cream in, just
well,
like
you
a root beer
could. I
float?
mean, people do it with a stout, but you'd probably hate that.
Well, maybe if it tastes like a root beer.
It doesn't.
Oh,
A stout
so
does
then you
not
can't.
taste
So
like
you're saying
root
you
beer.
can't take a beer and
I
make
guess
it into
you
a
could,
root beer.
but the thing is, it's different. It's beer and ice cream. Can't
Well,
say I haven't done that at
I
home,
have-
eaten a drumstick and drank a Miller Lite after, but this is a little more fancy version of it.
I know I've mentioned it probably once before on the podcast, but like one of my favorite things to do is to get a pint of Edmund Fitzgerald Porter
Oh, yeah.
from Great Lakes Brewing Company and float a scoop of caramel sea salt ice cream on the top. It is really like one of the best things. It's got the sweet, salty, bitter, the whole 9 yards in terms of flavors.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yes.
It's
And
quite good.
what are some of those pairings that they have planned in this event?
So the event that takes place Thursday, August 8th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. is going to feature a strawberry pineapple wheat with a pineapple sorbet. Their juicy, vivacious double IPA is going to have a Vietnamese coffee ice cream paired with it. So that sounds kind of unique.
Yeah.
They have the Kick Around Pog tart, which I am not super familiar with. I want to say it's papaya,
Pog is usually
orange, and guava.
Yeah.
Isn't
I
that
thought it was
right?
pineapple, orange, and guava.
Maybe that could be
Passion fruit, orange, and
passion
guava.
fruit.
I think that's
what
it.
it is. That's right. And that'll be with a nectarine sorbet, and then their Elliott Ness Amber Lager they're going to pair with strawberries and cream ice cream, and then the attendees get to bring a pint home. So it's pretty fun.
That is pretty fun.
Mason's does have delicious ice cream. So good.
Yeah. And it's perfect because it's summer. We love ice cream during the summer, and it's beer, and we love beer during the summer. So,
Yeah. Do it.
Perfect,
Like that.
perfect combinations going on here.
Yeah.
For
so
sure.
Yeah.
You got to get yourself. Maybe that'll make you into a beer drinker.
Unlikely, but thank you.
You're like the calories.
Do you have a beer that you do like if you had to have one, like you didn't really have any other choice?
He's gonna say something so random.
No, that's
I
what
really
I'm
know.
envisioning
Yeah.
that, right? It's like a
You
video
haven't had a
answer.
beer before that you're like, I like this.
No.
Oh,
You know what? I take it back.
I had an original.
I take
one.
it back.
Don't do the math.
I don't mind Coronas.
A Corona is my favorite beer.
Yeah, I don't mind
Corona
Corona.
Premier.
I can do
Okay.
that.
Well, see, there we go. We did find something.
It's my
Yeah.
favorite, like basic beer.
And I recognize that wouldn't be your first choice, but like if you only had beer to choose from at a location, that would probably be what you would go to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. See, we learned something new today.
Well, now we just got to take him to the ice cream pairing, and then he'll.
What are you gonna pair with the Corona? What flavor of ice cream?
Oh man, I would
Ooh.
like a
Ooh,
key
Yeah,
lime.
lime.
key
Yeah,
pie
yeah,
from
yeah.
Mitchell's.
A key lime pie ice cream from Mitchell's.
That's a good
That's
idea.
exactly what I would do.
Mhm.
Perfect. Thanks so much for listening to or watching Dine Drink CLE the podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at DineDrinkCLE and subscribe to our newsletter at cleveland.com/newsletters.